Peace to the tribe. Welcome. It's your boy AD, and I'm here with my nearest and dearest, my brothers. Let them introduce themselves.
What up? This is Breeze. Um, Thank y'all for rocking out with us this evening. We got another great show in store, full of jewels, camaraderie, and yeah, welcome.
Sacred Serpent, Sacred Dark Serpent, thank y'all for allowing us this space once again. I shade to the collective, I shade to the squad, and looking forward to tonight's talk. We got a nice, nice presentation for you guys today. So thank you again. Let's get to it.
Now, what's the word with y'all? How y'all night been? How y'all been feeling about today? And what's the vibe? What y'all feeling?
Man, just relaxing, relaxing, decompressing. Mm.
Yeah, y'all feeling good
Yeah,
after that
man.
full moon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
this
Friday, I
is
don't got to go back to work until January 2nd. So,
ooh we.
yep. So that's nice.
That mean we gonna get more Breeze lives?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had time.
You know the people been
Especially
waiting.
on the morning side, man.
You know the people been waiting for you.
That's what the game's been missing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been feeling good. Just really trying to stay on track with this moon. Really just trying to vibe with it and be on some energy tracking and just see what I can do with this energy and stay ahead. Because right now, we got that moon in Gemini. Shout out to my Gemini moons. I know y'all very adventurous. You muted, bro. You muted yourself when you was chewing.
Oh, my fault.
You good?
uh, the moon is still trine Saturn right now,
Yeah.
which is,
Well, what you thinking about a Saturn trine?
still in the space of what we talked about yesterday. Just
I don't remember
under,
yesterday. I feel like yesterday was an illusion.
yeah. But basically, that transit says to me that come up with different solutions. Don't
Mm.
think that it's just one path. It's 32 paths on the Kabbalah, and it all leads to Cather or to Malkuth. But don't be afraid of just like creating multiple solutions to solve a problem. You don't have to attack a problem just one way. Because I think where the moon is kind of like you feel like giving up, whereas which is the nine of swords, and then where the Saturn is at is the six of swords. And the six of swords is more so of like science, mathematical equations, like what we were talking about, like technology, finding different ways to solve problems, especially the persistent problems that we have. Like just be a little bit more creative with it. I have Mars and Venus in Aquarius, so to me, it's all about being creative to solve problems and not being thought centered about your problem, being action centered. Just try some shit. You'll learn faster failing than you will thinking and storing, thinking and storing. Just act.
Yeah, I like how you said the activities part because when you think about third house period, it engages in activities, right? But like those activities can be considered to be like mind building activities or activities with your family or your siblings. as that fact. You know what I'm saying? So even just with friends, because it's a mercurial thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercurial activities. And like the one thing that really inspired this conversation is, of course, as I'm pulling it up for everybody.
We still got Mars trine Neptune. What is that square? The sun is squared Neptune. I'm sorry. Mars is trine Mercury, but the sun is squared Neptune. And the sun is in Sag right now, right?
No, Ophiuchus.
Oh, right. Right. And it's squared
But yeah, you could
Neptune.
say Sag, you know, if you want to appeal to a certain group or so, or
If you want to be super technical, you can say Sag.
yeah.
The pain
Yeah.
is what did Khalil Gibran say? The pain is the physician within, so drink its potion.
Mm. I'll be right there.
All right, so here it is. So the one thing that inspired this convo about the moon and about what we're going to be really focusing on tonight is the Lover's card. And one thing with the Lover cards that we tend to really just see about it first is a relationship, you know, marriages. I mean, when we look at the card, you see literally two people as if they're getting married, and which is true. But we don't want to get those principles mixed up because those principles are hitting on two key factors that deal with the synapses of you and your inner being, not really you and a significant other. And if it is, it's talking about your feminine counterpart. So if you are thinking about that type of nature, you probably want to first resonate with your soul, right? The concepts of anima and animus. Because that's what this is really getting to into our inner being. So when then we pull up the information of Ram and Remulus, or as you can say, Castor twins, right? Because the main thing we want to understand about this card is duality. And the one thing that we want to have a resolution and an end solution that we're going to talk about is with this card. Because this is the Lover's card has a twin card, which is the art card. This is the end result that you want to be at when you think of the Gemini, the Lover's card. You want to end up being the art card, have an emergence of the intertwine of your soul with the self to create. Because as you see, it's resemblance in the cards that we're going to talk about that help explain the intertwine of the energy. But Breeze. So as I'm talking about duality within the Lover's card, what's one way you can say how duality speaks in this card through the imagery, through the zodiac sign Gemini? What really speaks duality in it, so we can help explain to the chat?
Well, the first thing is that Gemini is represented by twins, so it highlights the number two. Also, it almost, in a way, could you go back to the card? In a way, it represents some of the seven hermetic laws. 'Cause you got gender in there, you have polarity in there. Um, you have the multiple generations, you know, which would almost be God, you know, your ancestors. And then I mean, it's kind of like one of those things. It's the lover's card. It's something that's meant to be.
Mm. So you're saying the relationship
It's
or the
it's
inner
kind of like a
quietness? Uh-huh.
it's kind of like a gambit for chess players. It's kind of like something that was thought out, planned out, and methodically executed. Because you got like these ancestors up here, you got Cupid up there, you got God with his hands over them. and then you have like offspring, all the way down to Kundalini.
Mm.
It's almost like the left and right path.
Mhm.
The left path is more masculine. The right path is more feminine.
Mhm.
The middle path is God,
So in this relation,
but
can
all
we
paths
relate
lead
this
to God.
to Cain and Abel per se?
Yeah, you can relate it to Cain and Abel, then you also relating it to Adam and Eve.
Mm.
So yeah, it's that duality, you know. But
So
I
with
think it also represents like resistance. It represents opposition, difficulty, because you're thinking about the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the Ten of Swords.
God and the devil.
Yes, yin and yang.
Positive, negative.
so sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. So of the mergence of the positive and negative, this is our end result, correct? Once we understand what we're doing in the lover's card, we should end up here.
Mm.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Here it is. We should end up here. Once we understand the lover's card and what we're initiating to, we should be here with the emergence.
Sagittarius is it's the polar opposite of Gemini.
Mhm.
But one thing I would also say, they're 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 like their own personal yin and yang, just like Libra to Aries or Pisces to Virgo. They have their respective opposites, equal and opposite, because while Gemini represents like difficulty and resistance, Sagittarius represents alchemy and change and mutation of some sort.
Mhm.
But both of them are dealing with some type of energy or it's some type of vibration that is pushing you to change, to make a complete change.
Yeah, because the reason why I say that is if anybody studies the Book of Thoth, because this is the one way to really understand the deepness of these cards, and I recommend if you really want to study these cards and work with them, get the Book of Thoth by Aleister Crowley. But as he states with the art card, this is the complete and the fulfillment of Atu Gemini. It pertains to Sagittarius, the opposite to Gemini, the zodiac, and therefore, after another manner, one with it. So it's just like why I'm bringing that and what Breeze is correlating to and saying, and why I'm saying like this is the end result is because this is the complete space you want to get with that energy, this place of merging of yourself. So let's pull up this PowerPoint and Serpent. You mind scrolling down for me, dog?
What you said, big dog?
Can you scroll up for me and go to the next slide for me, please?
Yes, sir.
Now, the main way that we're explaining this symbolism with the twins is that we're using the story of Rom and Romulus, right? And this is a story of how Rome was built by the founders, right? So you have the mythos of a she-wolf and the conflict between these two brothers. But what I want you to understand is that conflict, because we brought up the Cain and Abel. The conflict is understanding the conflict between the ego and the self, and having the ego submit to the soul, because one can be without another.
Cooperation and conflict. Leadership creation through destruction, and the forging of identity through division. What does that mean to you?
Cooperation versus conflict.
It's
like
like collaboration instead of it's like collaboration instead of competing. You know, two people's better than one. Two heads is better than one. Pause. But
You know, it's
but it's
crazy
just
when you catch your pauses before you finish and shit.
but it's right. You don't never say pause before. But what I was gonna say is kind of like with duality, you understand you're dealing with two. So understanding that cooperation means that those two become one again.
Mm.
You know, you become whole again when you cooperate with one another. You know what I mean? Like me and my lady, we in the house and we cooperating on something. We moving as one at this point, you
Mhm.
know? Or as whereas like, nah, I don't like that. Well, I like that. It's a division. You know what I mean? It's conflict of some sort. And that's just that's not, you know, how we think of conflict. Well, some people do shit. But it's kind of being able to merge and do something that's beyond both self-interest and do something that's in the self-interest of the whole.
Okay.
It's you collapsing duality back into one.
Okay. So you guys are essentially two parts of one whole.
At that point, instead of two parts.
Okay.
And that makes you understand how one really needs the other, much as the other needs one. Like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's the metaphysical law of gender.
it also makes you think fighting with your brother is something that's dumb. Idiotic.
Do you brothers think that there has to be conflicting comparisons in order for you to get to a point of cooperation? Or do you think that cooperation should come outright first?
I think it happens where there is conflict because we coming from a conflicted spot. Play. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm experiencing, you know, myself in an ego sense as a male, you know what I mean, as a man, you know, whereas I understand the opposite of my being is a female, you know, a
Mhm.
woman.
Mhm.
Um, but damn, I lose my train of thought.
No, you good. You good. I got you with the alley oop. And it's like, along with that, when you think about war, what they say, if you want peace, you must be willing to go to war for it. And
hmm
the solution to war is love, right? It's
hmm
cooperation. So it's like being able to present conflict, but not being able to use the conflict to, like, you know, to cause affliction. But sometimes when we think war, we think a lot of things like pain, death is happening. I mean, because that's the physical traits and the man things that have happened on earth. But when we look at it from a spiritual aspect, it's about purification. So being able to
hmm
purify and be able to, like, to become one and whole, because when you realize we're all one, it kind of beats the conflict in a way. It's just understanding the difference. Because at the end of the day, everyone has a different understanding of God. You know, we was all talking about going into, like, you know, when Hood said, "Oh, that's a car." Yeah, that's a car. The wheels, the do. But everybody gonna say, "Well, God look like this. Everybody look like that." So we have to understand that we all have the spirit, but we're all different in nature. Because we
hmm
was talking about that with the cup today, Serpent.
Mm-hmm.
We're all the cup, but everybody got water inside their cup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone got a different shape, form, size, height. We all still have the water within us. So when we lose sight of that and focus on the exterior of the cup, you know, I'm a bigger cup than you. The way so and so can, use my handle, they gotta grab you in their hand hot, nigga. You weak. You know, it's just like.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking because when I first saw the slide, the first thing I thought about was the understanding about the woman being a help me, and help me, if I'm not mistaken, in Hebrew translates to counterpart. And so the understanding is that the completion is only complete it's only complete when the two parts of this union actually mirror one another, right? So she is supposed to show you the parts of yourself that you don't necessarily want to see or deal with, and you are supposed to show her the parts of herself, the things that she doesn't necessarily want to or have to deal with, should have to deal with. Because the understanding is the completion needs to be, in order for the whole to be complete, both of you need to be able to be your worst selves with one another, right? Like the portion of yourselves that you don't give to everybody else, you have to be able to give that to your partner, correct?
Right.
So that's the way I looked at it when I thought about it. Like, she's supposed to be my mirror. I'm supposed to be her mirror. And I think the whole concept of Remus and Romulus fits perfect with it, especially with the moon being in Gemini at this time. Because what's the big thing right now that everybody's talking about? It's somebody else's celebrity relationship. And for so long, these conversations have been going on, and you know, whether they're fundamentally making waves or not is not for me to judge. But I think that something Hood said a little bit ago, that people are just trying to figure it out, bro. And like, we can pick on the scabs and look at all the viral moments for the fun of it and for the entertainment, but at the end of the day, the concept and the understanding of relationships has been null and void, lost, and you can generally tell that people are lost and don't know where to go next. It's a bunch of he say, she say, and it's a bunch of people that not only don't have the current capability of dealing with their shadows themselves, they really don't have the capability or capacity to deal with or incorporate another person's shadow, especially not a partner.
I think with the whole thing about this aspect too, because this last night I think I missed something, but I rewatched it, and we was talking about the negative essence, right? And the one thing we have a hard time doing is that we want to look a certain way in front of people, and it's like we can't worry about that. Honestly, sometimes we have to let people see who we are, especially our loved ones, because at the end of the day, when we talking about this sign, it's talking about your twin, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people who be outside with their peoples, you know, or your main homie, you call him twin. You be like twin.
Ain't that the new slang? Ain't that the new slang now? Twin?
Yeah, that's all, and that's what, you know, Young Thug and Gunna and them be saying. You know, that's my twin in them. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you got a twin in them, you know your twin. You know how to talk to your twin. You be like, hey, yo, twin, man. You know we can't be doing that, twin. You know what I'm saying? If it's a problem, you had twin to switch. You know what I'm saying? So when twin pull up, you drink with twin. So I'm just letting you know how to, you know.
Yo,
so the moon and Gemini. If you don't got you a twin by now, hey, it's okay. Your soul is your twin. So don't be calling people out here twin, man.
Oh, that's a mic drop. Your soul is your twin. I can dig it.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next slide.
Go ahead, homie.
Castor and Pollux. Right on time.
The twins, one mortal, one immortal. Hold on, like I think that's the one thing that we always forget. One mortal, one immortal. So 9 times out of 10, we always forget the water in the cup. Because 9 times 10, what we say today, Serpent, people's cup be upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So another reference to your cup being upside down is that you're not receiving your blessings, or you're ignoring your spiritual insight, your spiritual twin. Like 9 times 10, if you got your cup open to receive, you drink it, or 9 times 10 you pouring it out to someone that's not pouring back into you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people learned that the hard way.
Is it for some reason it made me think, it definitely makes me think of Cain and Abel, but also makes me think of Moses and
Aaron?
Yahweh.
Oh, Yahweh. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
because Moses received the information from Yahweh. Moses, it wasn't just Moses, and basically, it's like man and spirit, working together. Because even though, we talking about twins, we still talking about one. You get what I'm saying? We still talking about two different aspects that's within you. You know what I mean? The mortal aspect, the flesh, and the immortal aspect, the essence of your being, your soul. Um, and how they struggle with one another, how they wrestle with one another. Genesis 28, you know what I mean?
Mm.
How they wrestle with each other. And it's just a drama, you know what I mean? Just like one of them got killed, you know what I mean? One of them got murked, you know what I mean? One of them got snuffed out because it's like, hey, I'm the physical, no, I'm the soul. Well, one of them gonna get shut out.
Mm.
But they can work together. But for the most part, that's how most of the dramas go, the mythology and the folklore go. One always triumphs over another one. It makes me think about how stories are only told one way.
Facts.
History.
Yeah, and the reason I said that is because we was just talking about Ophiuchus and the 12 sign. We all know, you know what I mean, enough about Ophiuchus for there to be it just incorporated, it just be accepted by this at this point. But the story is told a certain way, and it's kind of like it made me think of, I don't think it's that bad idea that it is hidden, because those that seek shall find. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Mhm.
That's the whole
So
point of it.
yeah, so if
I
you
think,
seek it out, you'll find it.
not to cut your wisdom, but I think
Yeah, you
that
good.
I think that was simple, systematic, right? I think
Hmm.
that going all the way back to the Dogon, I think Ophiuchus was held back on purpose. Like, I think the powers that be held Ophiuchus back because it didn't fit into a particular narrative. But I also think that the Magi, the original Christians, right? The first Christians were magicians, right? So
Mm.
I think they implemented the ancient teachings in a way that if you didn't do the work necessarily to get to a particular point, you wouldn't find Ophiuchus, right? Like, it could be staring you right in the face and you wouldn't know because you weren't doing the work to get to that point. The work that you were doing was going somewhere else. And like, it makes me think about humanity's struggle versus surrender and judgment versus mercy.
It's And to add to that, it's kind of like if you don't know what you're looking at, you see nothing.
Yeah, yeah. When you don't know what you don't know, that's the dangerous part.
Yeah. But I think that goes back to the moon trying Saturn. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So how about you try everything that you possibly do know, to solve a problem. It's
Walk
just,
around and find out.
yeah, it's just kind of like you collecting the pieces. It's like Humpty Dumpty, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
you
mhm.
fall and break all the pieces. Now you got to put all them pieces back together to be one and to be back. It's kind of like Eden to Jerusalem to Mount
Mm-hmm.
Zion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All that shit in the Bible happened just to get back to a newer Eden.
Facts. Yeah, the inside of the cup versus the outside of the cup. People
Uh,
act like the only important part is the inside of the cup. Like I said to the homie earlier, I was like, that's one of my favorite quotes from the Apocrypha.
Right.
Who built the inside of the cup? Who told you to
mm.
clean? Who told you to clean the inside of the cup? Don't you know that the same person that made the inside of the cup made the outside of the cup?
Yeah, I think Mark in the gospel, Mark says something in lines with, well,
Mm-hmm.
he said he's quoting Jesus saying something like that.
Mm-hmm. It's the Gospel of John.
Okay.
So Breeze. So when you have equated the whole also with Moses and Yahweh, what got Moses killed? Isn't when he had took
You
the
said what
credit?
got him killed?
Yeah, isn't when he took the credit for Yahweh, right? When he had split the sea and stuff, when he was doing the part of the magic, or
So it wasn't with the sea, it was when uh Israel was cursing the Lord and basically, they was like, damn man, we about to starve from not drinking water. And Moses, told Yahweh, like, hey man, they ready to kill my ass. What we about to do? And basically after that,
Mhm.
he told him, speak to this rock and water will flow from this rock. Moses was so annoyed and flustered, he just hit the rock with his staff and made the water flow. And he said that, and basically the Lord was like, you was disobedient because you didn't do it how I told you to do it. Therefore, you will not make it into um the promised land. And at the end of Deuteronomy, Moses is telling a generation 40 years later, because all of those people, that went into the promised land, they were from, children into their 40s, because their
Right.
parents were even told that you will have to wander in the wilderness because of your disobedience. Um, so at the end, Moses is telling him, like, look, I'm the man that's telling y'all all the shit. And God was like, you not going, and he died at the end of it. They went to the promised land, and then the story continues. But basically it's just saying don't put, as far as for the tribes of Israel, don't put your God to the test. Don't try to test God. Don't try to um want some super mythical, fantastical sign to become a believer of some sort. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm, mhm.
Because I think for the most part, when in the early stages, when we don't take our spiritual development serious, it's just because we looking for some type of experience. Whereas I think if you just stick to it, you'll bear more fruit than you can imagine. But it's all with that discipline. It's all with adhering to, you know, the law of the Lord. You got to tap into the mysteries of your being.
It makes me think about spiritual laziness because it's like sometimes
Both, yeah.
when we think of laziness, we just think of like, I'll get to it. But in another way, laziness is really saying to God is that, the things that you give me or presenting me is really not worth my attention. So it's like sometimes we don't know when we're being disrespectful to ourselves in a way or our ancestors.
Makes me think of with the moon being the reflection of human nature. How does human nature look to the moon right now?
Mm.
You dig me? Like
Yeah,
Like if niggas was looking at the reflection, right? What would the reflection look like right now? A whole lot of messy shit going on. Unnecessary messy shit. But maybe this is
it's
maybe
like
this
it's the nine of swords energy.
yeah.
Like I
Maybe
think ten of
maybe
swords
it
is
has
like
to tear
ruin.
down first. Maybe it has to come down. Ready for the next slide, bro?
Yes, sir. Now we did just leave a full moon. Now we're entering the next phase of that, which is a Wayne Gibbon phase.
Can you
But
break down the Wayne Gibbons phase, please, for those who don't know in the back? Could y'all brothers break down the Wayne Gibbons, please? Because I saw that shit and I was like, I think I heard Hood say that before, but what the fuck is
mhm.
that?
Well, it's the phase in between the full moon and the like quarter moon. So it's going to be full moon, gibbous moon, quarter moon, and then it's going to be a balsamic moon, which is more or less like a crescent moon, and then
Okay.
like a new moon. So a gibbous is when the moon is mostly full but not really full.
So like 3/4?
Yeah, like 3/4, but like more like 7/8 full,
Okay.
and it's mostly moon. And waning means that it's moving towards the new moon. A waxing gibbous moon is when it's almost a full moon, but it's not, right.
So it's like going like that.
It's going towards full if it's a waxing. Now
Okay.
the moon's going towards new because it's waning.
Okay.
What's the type of things that a Gemini moon goes through mentally? Like, Virgo moons deal with like conflictual minds. So what about Gemini moon?
I think for me, I'm a Gemini moon. It's just like being able to see through the reality. Because if you look up the Nine of Swords card, they have a Gnostic text from the Gospel of Thomas that says, whoever comes to understand the world has found only a corpse, and whoever has found a corpse is superior to the world. Like that energy represents somebody that is just kind of like not really in the matrix so much, and they might have like multiple personalities to a point where I wouldn't necessarily say that they smart. They just more know how to play to people. You know what I mean? Because it's like a Gemini moon is not really all there in the head. It's kind of crazy for real. So you gotta kind of like rectify your mind. And I feel like when you have a Gemini moon, you probably can't fathom nobody else's mind. Like your ability to be empathetic to other people is not as high as other people, because just how you think, how you process shit, because you don't really grasp too much of the world. You got to really try to grasp, like it's hard, you know what I mean? It's like super hard to have an emotional mindset that you don't even have a real foundation for. Like if you was a Capricorn moon, you could be like, oh yeah, I'm focused on my career, I'm focused on my business. But then like when you a Gemini moon, it's like, I'm focused on healing the world. And niggas is like, what? Like how the
That's it's funny.
how you even, what type
You
of
know,
is you, man?
but what's funny? I'm a Capricorn moon, and
Mhm.
I literally just be thinking about like money, like Mr. Krabs. Like,
Yeah,
how can I
like
just
it's
get
all
more money? Yeah.
Hold up, nigga. You build spaceships, nigga. You want more money? Come on, bro. Like, you need to save some for the rest of us, nigga. But it sounds like what Hood was describing was what Westerners would call somebody with bipolar disorder, right? Like they low-key geniuses, but they detached from the day-to-day, everyday human mundane shit. Like they detach themselves from things personally, but they got so much shit that they formulating in their head, like they not really there all the way for real. Like that's the description of a bipolar disorder, motherfucker. Like,
but
I don't think
I
that's
think
a real. I don't think that's a real disorder, but that's what it sounds like he's describing.
I think it's a term called spatial intelligence where people are able to be geniuses at a particular thing. And I think it kind of speaks to Gemini being the opposite of Sagittarius. You know, Sagittarius is gurus. So it's like in a way, I think Gemini energy is a guru too, you know, because it's ruled by Mercury. You got Thoth um with that, aligned with that, but it's just more so simple. I think Gemini's have the capacity to make it look simple when it's really not.
I think it's more of a personal guru. Like for me in my real personal life, like I can see how I like really help people, right, on an individual level. But I
Yeah.
can see like a Sagittarian aspect of me is a nigga where everybody's like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying, dick riding this nigga, like, yo, this nigga just fucking floated on the fucking carpet and was helping niggas, touching niggas on their forehead. Yo, that nigga just, you know what I'm saying, like, he's just like doing the retreats. Tony Robbins of the
Yeah, I
world,
get
shit
you.
like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't, I guess for me, it's like playing cards. The card you get is the card you gotta play, and your chart is your chart. You know what I mean? So Sagittarius aspects, I got like Neptune. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, so it balances out. But really, when your moon is in a particular sign, it's very dominant. It's
Yeah.
extremely dominant in reference to your personality.
And to confirm what you just said, Breeze, spatial intelligence, also known as visual spatial intelligence, is one of multiple intelligences defined by Howard Gardner in his theory of multiple intelligences. It refers to the ability to visualize, manipulate, and navigate objects or spaces in the mind. People with strong spatial intelligences are skilled at understanding relationships between objects, imagining scenarios, and creating mental models of physical spaces. This type of intelligence is fundamental in navigation design, architecture, art, engineering, even certain forms of strategic thinking. Yeah, that sounds like Hood Mystic.
Plus, when you think about modalities and how Gemini is a mutable modality, you got to understand like their adaptability, just like the way they assimilate just new information. Period. Like how Hood just talked about playing the cards. That's very quick with it. So when you think about what rules Gemini, it's Mercury, Mercurial. So chatting, logical, puzzles, things that are just resolves the mind. So it's just like tapping into that type of energy. We think about Virgo too. It relates to that type of analyticalness. You know what I'm saying? Systematic mindset. All due to mercurial energy. And Virgo, I'm pretty sure that's a mutable sign modality too, right?
Let me see if this is some of
Virgo,
your, is this some of your characteristics, Hood? Sacred geometry, building altars or ritual spaces, astronomy and astrology, visualizing celestial placements and planetary movements, and meditative visualization, developing mental imagery and spiritual archetypes, sacred spaces, or energy flow. That sound like you?
A little bit.
Little something.
Little something. Kind of, a little bit.
I ain't gonna toot my own horn. You know what I'm saying?
Type shit, type shit.
I ain't gonna toot my own horn. You know what I'm saying?
Type shit.
Type shit.
All right, you ready to move on, AD?
I'm telling you,
Of course.
your sidereal chart, because I'll be thinking I'm a Cancer moon. Meanwhile, I ain't even relating to bitches emotionally.
Yeah, I could have told you ain't no Cancer moon, nigga.
I'm relating to bitches mentally and shit, like really seeking mental connections and stuff like that. Get your sidereal. Stop bullshitting.
And then that's the thing too about understanding your sidereal chart. It's like you were like, I don't know, I'm so used to my Western chart, these things don't fit and match me. It's like, well, here's your challenge. It's like it's time to do some character building and changing. So let's talk about duality and decisions, right? First, we'll start with the Bible. It's a book of duality, right? And in a way, it makes you choose a side and what to believe in. And in the way of the decision of certain literature, certain phrases, right? Like the passages of, finding the kingdom of heaven within. But it's like a lot of people are taught that the kingdom of heaven is outside themselves. So it's like, what do you believe in? That's like a duality in decision. Now, how do you deal with that type of stuff? Because it's basically pertaining to weighing logic against intuition. And that's one of the things that the twins are representing.
Can you repeat the last thing you said, AD?
I said that's what the twins are representing, the decision and duality between weighing logic against intuition. Because the main thing that's challenging about the Bible that makes it a choice in duality is what's to believe in. Is the kingdom with heaven within, or do you believe that it's outside yourself and you have to die to go there? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a weighing decision that you had to believe in when you're studying this. So I'm saying, like, how do we deal with that? How is that? Is that duality in that decision pertaining to that question?
Yeah, it's definitely duality, but just you get there through your spiritual practices, understanding that you are one being, but you can experience yourself or it's a multitude of different components that make up who you are, but you're still one. If that makes sense.
Oh, makes perfect sense.
A serpent, it goes into what we were studying with the Magnus along into chapter 2 a little bit, when they was talking about the word of God and how man really tries to explain the word of God or get into the word of God, but he goes through a lot of interfaces of other man instead of profound wisdom of God. So it's like, that's the thing that we have to really go into, because that's what the magician listens to. The true Christian, he listens to his inner self, the inner soul, to get the wisdom and translate and understand. Shout out to the Magnus. That book, been reading that, listening to that, been fire so far.
I didn't think about it, but that shit, the theme is duality, and duality is a main thing in Tantra as well, because everything is coming out of the duality and taking it into the singularity. But I digress. Let's go.
But within that, does that like open up the realms for like. So like think of this. So in Kabbalah, they say with the process between 1 and 2 is that the way 2 became is when 1 became aware of himself. So we're thinking about that. That's what create a reflection. But how often do we really reflect though? Because it's talking about to have a creative foundation, you must have a place and period of reflection. But how many people really reflect to even see themselves? Because that's the way of starting shadow work and seeing your shadow is reflecting.
But I think in that regard, reflection is different from the understandings of shadow work, because when you reflect, the idea is not necessarily to look back on everything. It's to reflect on the key parts along the way. You know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about shadow work, that's more of a recollection of your actions and your activities and everything that goes with that, with the things that you've ultimately decided to hide from yourself subconsciously. So I think reflecting, we also have to have a time for reflecting, of understanding of where we've come from versus towards where we are going and where we are currently at. But your shadow, that's a whole different ball game. That's a part of self that you have to understand. And reflecting on your shadow, I don't think is good enough. If that makes sense, if I'm saying that right. I don't think reflecting on your shadow is good enough, because it's not the totality of the shadow, right? Like you might purposefully leave certain parts out when you reflect. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep. But that's why you gotta let the you gotta let the Holy Spirit take over when you journaling. That's when you really, when you're not thinking, you write when you write. I mean, I think that's a psychic phenomenon within itself.
Yeah.
Your hand just begins to write what's on your heart. Because we got thousands of thoughts. And I feel like
So
it's funny how like something converge in reality. Like you can be thinking about something and you might see an ad on Instagram about what you was thinking about. um what is that?
AD, can you share my screen real quick?
I got you.
Well, I think about the duality. I think about how the duality is created from the void. Right? The void creates the center, the nucleus, the proton,
The
creates the electron, and you know what I'm saying? Everything physical represents more of a dualistic approach. It's like if you play in a video game in two-dimensional space, the camera creates duality because it's like you and something looking at you. So like when we are dealing with the aspects of the mind, duality also has an origin, like it has a source. And I think that it's kind of like you're trying to like compete with day and night, but it's all encompassed in the 24 hours, and we all encompass within the universe. So like if somebody was looking at the universe, they could never key in to like me or you. They just looking at it as a totality. And I think I was thinking about this like as a real like application. It's like when you on a plane and you looking down at like a city, you feel some sense of superiority, mainly because you're not identifying with none of the struggles that people identifying with down below. So I'm like, damn, that's how they make gods. I know that's how gods really felt towards humans when they look down. And that's just another way of just understanding like perspective. And when you have a proper perspective, like a certain level of distance, you have a certain level of divinity. So it's like duality from one aspect is real, but then I think like it's a mystery or a secret to duality, which is just like the lovers, which is sex, tantra, yab yum, the mother and the father, sex magic, childbirth, having a mental connection with somebody. Like all of these things reign supreme. I think like when you try to buy your success or buy your love, it don't really hit the same other than when a person is really like truly connected to you. And then it's also connected to like magic and alchemy, which would be like Sagittarius, the art of alchemy, like really understanding the deep origin power of your mind actually creates duality. So it's like finding a dualistic viewpoint you want to live with. But it's really laid out in the Venn diagram where it's that third circle. It's like it's like a shape that's been created, but it's actually the origin to the two circles. I always think that's like a deep truth.
Man, like I said, as soon as he put that up on the screen, first thing I thought of was the Vesica Pisces, because that's what's in the middle.
Right, but that creates all duality.
Coming through it.
Yeah, we would not even be having this conversation if it wasn't for a vagina.
I was just gonna say, man, like I think I know how to manifest more. Yeah, I'm gonna just meditate on that. Just lock in, stare at them.
That's the ultimate meditation. I remember this one girl, she had sent me a video of her masturbating and orgasm. It was like an 8-second loop. I used to meditate on it on a repeat. It's a whole different
Yo,
keeping it honest.
I appreciate that. I got stories like that too. I appreciate that. I appreciate you bringing back those memories, player. I appreciate that shit, boy. It's nothing like an unbridled orgasm, nigga. Fuck.
Nah, you gotta have it on the loop and meditate.
Yeah, I don't know.
On top of the altar.
I don't think we had the technology back
then.
I had it done for me.
Relax your body and calm down. And just fixate and focus on the orgasmic bliss happening over and over again. That's a portal.
And you can actually maintain that frequency if you let go. You could exist in that frequency all day.
I mean, if you was just like chilling with your shorty and she just moaned, that's gonna signal something way different in your ability to reason.
Facts. Like if your girl just moaned during the argument, nigga, argument over. Like, listen, we done here. Like, I don't even give a fuck what I was mad about a second ago. Right? Like,
I'm gonna put earplugs in.
His brains ain't going.
Nah, don't you? that shit ain't right.
Y'all see that meme? Now
we talking tantra.
Weeks ago, they start arguing.
Tantra, nigga.
Be like, They was like, start
Yo,
arguing.
why
Be
do you
like,
say that's
yo,
not right? Yo?
do you want some head?
Yeah,
Like, he's like, what?
yeah. Oh, light skin do a light skin girl, and she'll shut up real quick.
She's like, what? He's like, do you want some head?
That's one of my favorite meme skits.
She was like, yeah. Like, yeah, you go home.
Yo.
But yeah, that's all I was thinking about that duality.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We got next, big dog. You want to talk about
now it's time to really talk about
You talk about that tantra real quick.
yes sir. It's like we've been getting to duality and everything and talking about the soul, so it's time to walk into the journey into the being. Journey into the being, I'm sorry.
You good.
You can just click on top and hit share tab. You can just switch it right over. Share this tab instead.
So when we talk about tantra, tantra is one of those things that is near and dear to my heart. You know, these brothers are phenomenal at so many different things, and if there's any question or ever any question about what Sacred Serpent brings to the table, it's the understandings in tantra. And so the reason why what we talked about earlier connected so much to my book, Journey to the Being, available on Amazon and flameonshop.com, is because Tantra is essentially what's known as the merging or the weaving of spirit and the physical. And so when we talk about Tantra and we talk about understanding and merging the spiritual with the physical, Tantra isn't just about romance and intimacy. It's about sacred energy inside you and how to move it through your body for healing and connection and spiritual growth. Tantra shows you how to balance the masculine and the feminine forces within you. Yes, we all have both, and create harmony in your life. It's about living in the flow of energy rather than fighting against it. Within Cyril astrology, it's like a cosmic fingerprint mapping out the energy you were born with on the real positions of the stars. It's not just about what's your sign, it's about understanding the deeper cycles of your life and how they influence your path. Within this book, we will show you how to tap into your knowledge and make sense of your experiences and plan for what's ahead. So, sacred energy flow, balance, masculine, feminine, harmony, connection, living in energy flow. And then you combine that with Cyril astrology, that is cosmic fingerprint, real star positions, understanding life cycles, and mapping your path. Putting the two together is like the perfect marriage because you have understanding, you have intention, you have feeling, you have emotion, and you have action. And so the reason why Tantra is so important to me is because connection is extremely important to me. And if there's one thing that this current plane could use more of, it would be connection. I feel like connection is misinterpreted. It's looked over. and it's very much misrepresented. Far too much, people spend a lot of time just wanting to get to the sex part without trying to understand their partners on a physical and spiritual level. The importance of understanding your partner on a spiritual level before or outside of just only doing it on an emotional level, on a physical level, is the difference between knowing your partner is lying to you or not. Right? See, a physical person can cheat on a physical person all day, and you guys will just fight back and forth, and nobody will know the difference because you can't prove either way unless there's obvious, tangible evidence. When it comes to a spiritual person, you start deviating away from particular plans that are already in place based off of the connection that you guys have made. Oh, that partner will know that you're being unfaithful, that you're doing something conniving, that you're sneaking around and you're just trying to manipulate the situation emotionally. Like, understanding your partner doesn't mean just knowing what they've been through. Doesn't mean just knowing what kind of partners they've had. Doesn't mean just knowing what kind of money they make. In fact, all of those things are last, like if they even come up at all. I would prefer to know my partner astrologically, and I would prefer to know my partner emotionally and spiritually before I even get to a part of thinking about how wet it is and how big it is. Pause. Right? So what say you, brothers? What do y'all think about Tantra and astrology?
I think is Tantra is what AI is based off of. It's something but like Tantra that you talking about, Serpent, I feel like that's our biology, and understanding our biology and working with our biology in a way where we're looking at it as a tool, something that is in place to help us. Because after you eat from the tree of good and evil, the tree of polarity, you need things to help you on earth, because otherwise the elements or the animals or the plants is going to kill you. So you need, and I think the etymology of the word tantra, we looked it up before, it was technology.
It's to weave.
Yeah, to weave. Even that within itself sounds like, if you have to weave, you're dealing with different parts.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
after
you
the
sort
weaving
of
is
meshing them
complete, you
together.
have one. Yeah. It's like the tie-ins together, put pieces back together.
When I think of Tantra, it makes me think of the school of sexual science and really learning to do the right thing with your seed, especially when you do a lot of studying into a lot of cultures or the Pentateuch. You see, they value the seed, Taoism. They understood the life force and spilling it. So it's like when I start to understand those practices, I really start understanding the foundations of Kundalini.
What say you, Hud?
I was looking for where we was talking about how Tantra represents some form of like technology. But when you look at the etymology, it means to have a system. Like to weave is more of like a way to weave or a knowledge of what weaving is, right? And so it's like I think the word tantra is very confusing because it gets conflated with many different things, and there's really no real basis for the concept of tantra in a Western mind, unless we're talking about technology, right? Like that is how we weave ourselves to our social media profile, right? Or what we trying to like create for ourselves. And so when you relate that to astrology, I would say you trying to understand yourself through your astrology chart, especially your houses. And so when you trying to like, if you master your astrology chart, if you really understand your astrology chart from a sidereal perspective, you have a system for self that helps you unify yourself with who you absolutely are, with your higher self. So essentially, you are weaving your everyday regular self. Like I'm the type of person that will freak a black and mild, you know what I'm saying? Be on a dating app trying to find a thotty to link up with for the night, get a fucking $50 hotel room, a bottle of liquor. What I'm saying is like, God save me. I weave myself with my higher self to understand how to maneuver through the matrix in a way that I don't have to be living under conditions that I don't understand. Like I don't understand a nigga saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and I'll dock your pay or I'll cut your hours, I'll take food out of your mouth and stuff like that. I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I have to fucking figure it out on my own. But if I didn't understand my chart, if I don't understand where my third house is at, where my 10th house is at, where my moon is at, where my Mars is at, and then exemplify that and more or less weave that into my daily experience. So Neptune is in my third house of communication. So I speak from a spiritual perspective. When I was talking to bitches, I was trying to get some pussy. If I understand my chart, I don't even talk to bitches about nothing really, unless it's about spiritual things. And the dope part about it is, I was a motherfucking creep. But it don't matter who you was on the physical. If you weave yourself with your higher self, you could exemplify those qualities more than exemplify your low life qualities. So tantra comes from the Sanskrit root tan and tra, which means to extend or spread out. You know what I'm saying?
Instrument or tool.
It is something that leads to deep expansion especially if you relate it to astrology. But everything has a tantra.
Everything. Tantra is the vehicle.
It is the weaving of you to it. So if you think of a fabric, if basketball is a fabric, you need tantra to weave yourself into the lexicon, or else you're gonna be playing at LA Fitness talk about ball. You don't have tantra on your basketball, you're not going to make it to the NBA.
Nah. You're gonna be with them niggas at West 4th Street somewhere. Like,
hey, you going to the Y or LA Fitness tonight? Hey, bro, can you give me a ride though? My baby mom, she got to work tonight.
Man, LA Fitness so expensive.
Right? Listen, I don't want to hear nothing so expensive from you, okay, sir? But the word that came to mind when you was talking and I was reading was approach. So it's sort of like your approach. With tantra would be the vehicle, it's the approach in that vehicle. And it also doubling as an instrument. You can also call it an instrument, but I think tool and technology is the best advancement of the weaving. Because like you said, you want to take those fabrics and put them together. You have to combine those things in order to get to the thing that you actually want. So Tantra would be your modus operandi, so to speak.
Hair braid in his tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think of the
Especially those.
word made flesh
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and how like how your DNA you just a compile, for lack of better words, if that's a word, a compile of your DNA and cells.
Is that a bot in the chat?
Oh shit. Here we go again. Hey, we gonna find your IP address, bruh.
Yeah, you better stop playing. You got real professional hackers on this panel. You better be careful.
But I think that's the key right there though. You know, with Tantra, understanding that you weaving yourself with your higher self, with God. It's like putting on the armor of God, and like it's so simple, you just meditate on that concept alone.
Mhm.
You could just, just I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning. I'm about to write that down right now.
Oh, like DNA. What does DNA do?
DNA carries your genome,
Hmm.
which is basically, in simplest terms, is every single combination of the possibility of you.
And it's
It's like
throughout
it's
your
like
whole entire being. You feel me?
it doesn't
Like
have an
the
exact
same-
location.
right. It is
It's
everywhere.
spirit.
It's every fabric of your body carries the same concept of DNA that represents you. That's amazing to think. And you wouldn't even be confused.
Mhm.
They could never confuse my DNA with yours.
Mhm. It's like the
Ever.
fractal nature of our existence, of our physical
Yeah.
existence.
We all have it though, too.
hmm
It's amazing.
And it has like you said, it has an exclusivity of it. Can't talk. Mm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the whole purpose as to why I decided to put this book together in the way that I did was I wanted to connect those facets of life that we always talk about, but I don't think the everyday average person understand it actually connects to everything else. And everything within this ebook connects to everything else. From alchemy to sex magic to tantra to astrology to Kabbalah to meditation, the mycorrhizal network, all of these things that I put in this book were things that I not only learned from the guys that I work with and learned from the work that I've done on my own. The importance of it is this is not readily everyday knowledge, right? This is not as a matter of fact, this book will be considered taboo. So I love taboo shit because most people don't want to mess with taboo shit. And that's the whole idea behind this book, amongst a myriad of other things. Um, I am proud of it. I haven't been extremely vocal about talking about it because a lot of the times I feel like a lot of people are not into this kind of stuff. So I have to be real systematic in who I talk to about it. But I'm not afraid for people to understand that these things actually matter to me. And that's why I wrote the book. Journey to the Being, like I said, is available on Amazon, is available at flameonshop.com. And it's less than a dime bag of weed if they even sell those. Pause.
Ashe. We forgetting anything, y'all?
What you said, big bro?
I said that was fire. I said, are we forgetting anything?
Yo, we wanted to talk about Jason Derulo. Can you play that video? I think we need to bust that down before we get done. You there, AD?
Hood got the bid. I thought I was waiting on him to share his screen.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
I know y'all was waiting on me. I've shared it in the Discord.
Derulo told her that in order to be successful in the music industry, an artist needs to partake in goat skin and fish scales. Both are slang phrases in which goat skin means to drink alcohol and fish scales refers to cocaine, according to the Derulo Atlantic attorney's court papers. I'm not a drinker, so if there's any bartenders that's watching this or people that know their alcohol, is there a drink called goat skin? Like you go to the bar, you go to the club, you're like, hey, give me a goat skin on the rocks. Please tell me, because I've never heard that. But they're confirming they know what this means. Okay, that's what was told to me. Now I went home, did my homework, heard about the fish scales reference about that related to cocaine. But goat skin, I'm like, that sounds like a ritual. So I went and looked. Daily Mail and a couple other websites stated Haitian ritual involving blood, goat, sex, sacrifice, all that stuff. Now, I am not saying all Haitians do this. I'm aware of different cultures. I've been told by people that support me that are Haitian, they're like, yeah, that Haitian voodoo stuff is real. I looked it up. It's a real thing. And yeah, I'm not going to partake in that. I'm not. I was told by my A&R, Eitan Horn at the time, oh, Atlantic wants you to win, but we can't say the same for Jason. You got to be on his good side. So what's his good side? Doing goat skin and fish scales, drinking alcohol at the studio, which I didn't want to do, but I was pressured to do. Like, I need to sing. Ridiculous, but I got a DM throughout this.
When I seen goat skin, I immediately thought condom.
Goat skin condom?
Yeah, remember they used to say if you allergic to latex, they made them.
They do have that flavor.
And then if you're doing the fish scale, you probably, doing a Richard Pryor.
Wow. See, you are very how do you say accommodating? You are such a nice young man. Yo. Yo. I mean, first of all, besides giving my people a bad name, jeez. One of y'all want to go first? Because I need to think about that shit for a little bit.
It just talk about like rituals, Baphomet rituals. You know what I'm saying? Jason Derulo is he an artist. He make dance music. He like in that type of crowd, in that type of energy. That's like in the mainstream, like super mainstream. He has sold over 250 million singles. Um, he's a big time pop star. And when you talk about big time pop star like that, he's actually Haitian Creole.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Haitian guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not gonna imagine that anybody is reaching the top of the charts without doing a ritual. And then to stay at the top, they gotta utilize they steal souls all the time. For me. So it's like that's just how it goes. So I mean, I just don't think like he knows
Yeah.
from anybody else.
No.
Yeah, you got to keep feeding that beast. Once you open that panel, you can't close it without continuing to feed that beast. Because there is a particular amount of ethics that goes into ritualizing anything. And if you're doing it on that level for a particular thing, like fame, notoriety, success, etc., etc., there's a cost to that. Now, the fact that he's Haitian and Creole, he probably super tapped in, but that don't necessarily mean that you should do what he do. I'm just saying. Wow, I just never thought I'd see that shit. Like, I
This
mean,
nigga's name is Jason Joel Deserolo. Deserolo.
it's
Like
French.
yeah, it's like French Creole.
Mhm.
He changed that shit to Jason Derulo.
Yeah, he cut the end off of that shit.
Hell no. This nigga, man. It's so crazy, man. It really is
At
crazy.
first, when I saw him, when I first time saw, I thought he was cosplaying. Like I thought he was blackface and blackface.
Mm.
But then I looked up his shit. I found out he was Haitian. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Shit, you know how many times I wanted to change my motherfucking name? Shit.
Mhm.
I got tired of motherfuckers fucking my name up all through school, all through my life. I got to high school, I stopped correcting niggas. I was like, yeah, I'm good, man. Say what you want, man.
So now, this was a relationship matter, right, between the two?
No, I think she was just an artist.
Okay. No, because I was just trying to like look at the scale of it a little bit, because it's like it's a Chiron square moon, so I was just trying to see if it was like a relationship dealing with intenseness and shit. I mean, yeah, since they're friends, but on a deeper level, I thought they was partners doing things with each other. But within that sense of what I'm saying is like being able to even like do rituals with your partner on a deep level or creating that space for it, it's like a place of tantrum.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the ritual was so he could make her his shorty. I don't know. I just know
Yeah.
that a ritual being explained to someone who's not accustomed to doing rituals and who's never heard of people actually physically doing rituals in real life, yeah, that's a culture shock, bro. You will scare anybody away on that. Shit, 98% of the world think rituals got something to do with the devil anyway.
Singer Amazing Gibson filed the lawsuit against Jason Derulo, alleging that the R&B megastar expected sex from her after she signed a contract
Mm.
with him, part of an
Makes sense.
alleged quid pro quo arrangement. The
Now
lawsuit
makes
alleges
sense.
that after Gibson Derulo signed a 2021 contract to create music together, as well as to release Gibson's solo music on Derulo's imprint with Atlantic, Derulo continually pressured Gibson to go to bars with him, drink during work, but she objected. One day, Derulo allegedly responded to Gibson rejected and telling her she might have to take part in goat skin and fish gills, a apparent reference to cocaine in a sex act involving drugs, goat, and blood, which she interpreted as an explicit demand for sex in exchange for success. So it's like, I mean, y'all think that this shit's not real, but y'all
Mm-hmm.
gotta understand, motherfuckers is doing rituals for real.
That is a fact. I don't think there's anything done in this world without a ritual in front of it. At least not from those kinds of people.
It's a cause and effect.
All right, y'all brothers want to give any closing thoughts?
Yeah, make sure you guys rap with flameonshop.com. 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 Oh, guys, by the way, flameonshop.com.
Is peace to the tribe. Most likely we be doing a couple more videos. You know, I have a little bit of vacation time, so hopefully we could do some midday episodes.
Yeah, we could
Um,
definitely do some morning joints now since you're gonna be off for a little bit.
Of course,
yeah,
and you got in the chat can join us on TikTok live and get a live reading.
Yeah, we gotta get Breeze on the TikTok live joint.
Type shit, man. Just thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all in the next video. Appreciate y'all tapping in.
Ashe.
Ashe, Sacred Serpent, flameonshop.com. We out.
Peace.
peace.